How to feel entitled enough to be with attractive women. Because we've all seen men before who were with women that were way out of their league. Like, I know men that aren't that physically attractive, they don't make that much money, they don't have that much going on in their lives, yet they are with attractive women. They feel entitled enough to be with attractive women. But I've also seen the opposite side, which is like a really good looking dude who actually is successful, who makes good money, yet the women that are in his life are not up to par with the other pillars of his life. So what does that tell you? Obviously, the ability to feel entitled enough to get a high quality, physically attractive partner is not necessarily the same correlation as your financial success or how you look as a dude either. And I was the guy who had zero entitlement. All right, I couldn't even look a girl in her eyes, not even an attractive woman. I'm talking about girls who are arguably less attractive than me. I've been in my self-development journey for almost 15 years now, but when I was in my 20s, I was at a very low level with this. I couldn't even hold eye contact. I couldn't carry a conversation. There was no way in hell I was gonna go up and approach a girl, let alone a stunning, very attractive woman. That was like absolutely out of the question. And I went from zero entitlement of even approaching, let alone going on a date or being intimate, to gaining social confidence, being able to go interact, then getting better with those skills, getting an abundant dating life. And 10 years later, I'm about to be 35, but 10 years later, after doing this and coaching hundreds of other men, I can honestly say I feel entitled to be with attractive women. So obviously, there's a progression that if you go down that path, you as well can become entitled to getting attractive women. And I want to explain to you guys how to go through that process yourself. So whether you're the unattractive dude or you're hyper successful, but you still don't have attractive women in your life, this video is for you. Now, understand, guys, the first time that you get with a girl who's the most attractive girl that you've ever been with, you will not feel entitled to be with that woman, obviously, because you haven't yet ever gotten a girl of that level of attractiveness, that high enough level. You've never been with a girl that at that caliber. So obviously, how could you miraculously be entitled to a woman like that? You wouldn't be, okay? But that's okay. But just understand that the conclusion of all of this is that what this means is, in order to get the girl that's arguably out of your league physically or hotter than any girl you've already been with, it requires a skill set of being able to go after that girl regardless if you actually feel entitled enough to get her yet. Okay, hopefully I'm not losing you with this, but understand this. The first time you get the girl and she's the most attractive girl you've ever been with, you won't feel entitled. The skill set to get the ball rolling with this is to go after that girl anyway. It's to go after that girl anyway, regardless if you feel entitled enough to get her yet. You won't feel entitled until after you've already been with a girl of that caliber. And I'm not trying to make this purely about physical aesthetics. I know there's a lot of dudes online that are like, the hottest girls have the worst personalities. I'm talking about the girls that are in the top 10 percentile of physical aesthetics. And in my opinion, I think most people in the world have the potential to get to that point. Some women are just blessed genetically, and they do get treated unfairly in comparison to a lot of other women. And for that reason, some of those women may develop bad personalities. But I do think that there's also a lot of women that didn't necessarily grow up genetically perfect, but yet if they actually put in the work and the time into improving themselves and optimizing their look, they could still become in the top 10 percentile. In a very similar fashion, I've upgraded my look massively over the last decade. So I think a lot more people possess the potential to be at that top 10 percentile. All right. But once you understand this, understand, guys, the first time you get the very attractive girl, you're not going to feel entitled to it. You're not going to feel ready for it. It's like getting a job that you've never been hired for yet. You might feel somewhat confident in the sense that you might know you probably have some of the skill sets to get that job. But if you've never been hired or you've never been paid that amount of money, it's going to be really difficult to go to that interview and genuinely feel hyper qualified for that position because you haven't experienced it yet. So obviously, you're not truly entitled yet. And that's okay. I'm just preparing you guys because a lot of you dudes don't realize that the very skill set I'm talking about in this video is the ability to still confidently go after the girl despite your previous experience, despite your previous confidence of what you've had with women. You won't be ready for it, okay? And that is totally okay. But also understand that you may lose women in this process. Like, don't just expect to go after the girl and then suddenly you got her. There's different levels to it. There's feeling entitled enough to confidently go up and approach, carry a conversation, tease and challenge, display intent and flirt, invite her out on a date, lead her properly, go from date 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get intimate, build up a potential relationship, bedroom, and beyond. All of those are different levels, and you could lose the girl at any different phase in that sequence. Okay, and you probably will at multiple levels, and that's part of the reason why inevitably, if you go down that process over time, you actually will feel entitled at some point. At some point, if you keep going down that path, there will always be a next step, or there will be a new girl that comes around where like, this is the most attractive girl I've ever been with, and this is nerve-wracking, and I'm intimidated, and I feel like she's out of my league, and I'm getting in my head, and I'm a little bit obsessed and addicted to thinking about the future with this girl, and that's okay. That is totally okay. That's normal. You would get excited if you had a massive job opportunity where they're going to pay you 10x your current income. Of course you would. It's a big opportunity. So you getting excited, you getting nervous, you feeling maybe not entitled to the position initially is normal. All right? Dudes asking me, I was like, I'm freaking out because of the girl, blah, blah. It's normal, bro. It's not a big deal. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that you are presented with this opportunity. Now you need to understand that the only way to truly get there is to go through the experience while not actually feeling entitled. All right, hopefully this is clicking in your head. All right, and the one other thing I wanted to say about this is you should also optimize your look while going through this process. I think there's certain dudes out there that hyper fixate on looks maxing. I think that's a bad idea because now you're solely dependent on your look. And also, there's always gonna be girls that are more attractive than you as a dude. Just like you can only make yourself so physically attractive. Like you can optimize, but there's always gonna be women out there that are more attractive than you at a glance. And so you don't wanna get into this physical competition solely off of that. Your look is something you should be optimizing while you're pushing your social skills, your confidence level, and your experience going on dates and interacting with women. You wanna do these things simultaneously because what I did notice, even though I first worked on the social confidence side of it first, I did notice that as I got more attractive too, simultaneously, I also did feel a little bit more entitled. You need both though. It's not just looks max. It's gonna be you actually pushing your confidence level and understanding you're never really entitled until you've already been accomplished that thing. But also simultaneously, if you are optimizing your look at the same time, that will be supporting evidence that could also help your own level of entitlement because you physically and what you've accomplished in your own life, there's evidence there that you're not just this piece of shit. You get what I'm saying? So you probably need to build both of them up. I do know dudes who are already maxed with the confidence, with the looks and the lifestyle and the income, but they still don't have the experience side. Those dudes need to go after that anyway. And if you're a dude who's got neither, you got to go after both, bro. The final thing I wanted to mention about this is that understand that the girl that you think is intimidatingly attractive, like you're undeserving of her, you need to, once you actually start getting with some of these women, you spend more time with one girl that you really, really connect with. Over time, what you'll realize is that the fairy dust wears off. You get to spend more time around that woman when she's not fully dolled up, when she didn't spend hours on her hair and her makeup and her outfits and all of these different things, and her nails and her lips and her everything, right? They deck themselves out to the T, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like a girl who I can appreciate the beauty of a girl who's fully decked out aesthetically, who put time into herself. I can appreciate that, but also understand that what you see in the magazines, what you see on Instagram, what you see with that girl who's out at the restaurant, when you see that girl who's walking down the street in the mall, when you see that girl who's out at the nightclub in the dark environment and there's alcohol involved, understand that these are still normal human beings. All right, IG and movies and all this stuff will glamorize this and magnetize, or whatever the word is. They hype it up. But once you've spent enough time with the girl and you've been with that woman and the fairy dust wears off, you'll start to realize that they're just normal people as well. Everybody in the world, the highest level celebrities, male and female, I don't care how much you praise or idolize these people. Some dudes that I've met out look at me like that, which is crazy. I'm just a normal dude, but all of us in the world are just normal people. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care what you look like on Instagram. We're all normal people, but You won't realize that until you've spent enough time around people like that to really get desensitized to it and also to see them at their quote unquote uglier phases. You get what I'm saying? Like, I look way worse than I look on the camera right now. This is me, showered, groomed up, fresh haircut. Like, I can look like shit in the morning in bad lighting. I can look a lot better. And girls are the same way, if not even more exaggerated. Okay? So that's everything you need to understand, is that you got to put in the work. You're never going to really feel entitled and up to the levels of very attractive women until you've already been with girls like that. All right? And the only way to do that is to go after them despite you not feeling entitled enough yet. The guys who can do it anyway and kind of fake it a little bit in the process, and then they get through that experience and they end up getting those girls over time, then they feel entitled to it because they already been doing it. Optimizing your looks simultaneously can be a nice supportive tool also to, present yourself in the most attractive way possible. And then also spend time long term with at least one of these girls, once you finally do get one, to realize that, hey, the initial impression at a glance or online or in that movie or in that magazine or what I saw at that night out isn't really the reality of it. You got to start to see people for who they really are over time. And every human being is still beautiful to some extent. But understand, it's just not what you think at a glance. But that takes time and maturity and experience to come to these conclusions. And once you go down that process, you'll actually feel entitled to be with attractive women. All right, if you want to fast track that process, if you want to build up your social confidence, because I didn't have the confidence to even go out and interact with women. I didn't have that. I couldn't communicate. I didn't have the charm. I didn't have the skill set. Didn't have the support or the coaching or the structure. If you want to get better with that, if you want to get your dating life more abundant, you want to land an attractive girl to be in your life, right? If you want to level up these areas and max out your self-development journey, I can help you fast track that whole process, man. Click the button down below. Check out the brand new coaching programs. I'd love to help you make a transformation as well. That's all for this video, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.